They thought I was their son's girlfriend, so I played along. Now he asked me to stay. The text came at 9:47 p.m. on a Friday night from a number I didn't recognize. Thank you for agreeing to this. My parents arrive at 10 a.m. tomorrow. I'll Venmo you the $500 we discussed. Address below. I stared at my phone, confused. I hadn't agreed to anything. I didn't know this person. This was clearly sent to the wrong number. I should have texted back immediately explaining the mistake. Instead, I screenshot the message and sent it to my best friend Kai with 3 question marks. She called within seconds. Are you secretly doing weird gigs now? This was sent to me by accident. But $500 though. For what, like 4 hours of work? She was reading the message I'd forwarded. It says brunch with parents. Pretend to be girlfriend. Keep conversation light. No physical contact beyond hand-holding. I read it again. Someone was paying a stranger $500 to fake being their girlfriend for one meal with their parents. That's insane, I said. That's rent money, Kai countered. I'm not pretending to be someone's girlfriend for money. You're pretending to be a functional adult at your job every day for way less. She had a point. But this was different. This was fraud. Deception. Definitely illegal in some way I couldn't articulate. My phone buzzed again. Same unknown number. Also, my mom will ask about your job. You're a teacher. Elementary school. We met at a coffee shop 6 months ago. I spilled my drink on you and bought you a replacement. We've been inseparable since. Keep it simple. See you tomorrow. Another text came through. Venmo sent. $500. Thank you again. I checked my Venmo. Sure enough, $500 from someone named Nathan Gallagher with a note that said, brunch tomorrow. Oh my God, I said to Kai. He just sent me the money. What? He thinks I already agreed to this. He sent $500 to the wrong person and doesn't realize it. So text him back and explain. I looked at my bank account. $127. Rent was due in 5 days. I'd been picking up every freelance design job I could find, but this month had been slow. $500 would mean I could pay rent and still eat something other than ramen. Lily, I can hear you thinking, don't. What if I just did it? One brunch, 4 hours. I give him his money back if it doesn't work out. That's a terrible idea for so many reasons. She started listing them, but I was already texting Nathan back. See you tomorrow. Send me your parents' names and any other details I should know. His response came immediately, like he'd been waiting by his phone. Mom is Catherine. Dad is Gerald. They think we've been dating 6 months. You're 26, elementary school teacher. You grew up in Portland but moved here 3 years ago. You have one brother, younger. You like hiking and reading. Keep answers vague. They tend to fill in gaps themselves. Thank you for doing this. You're saving my life. I screenshot everything and sent it to Kai. I'm doing it. You're insane. I'm broke. There's a difference. That night, I barely slept. I kept rehearsing the fake backstory. Teacher, coffee shop, meet cute. 6 months, hiking and reading. When my alarm went off at 8 a.m., I almost texted Nathan to cancel. But $500. I got dressed carefully. Not too casual, not too formal. I wanted to look like someone who'd put in effort for meeting their boyfriend's parents, but wasn't trying too hard. I settled on a blue dress and cardigan. The address Nathan had sent was a restaurant downtown, upscale brunch place. I arrived 15 minutes early and waited outside, wondering what Nathan looked like, wondering if I'd be able to pull this off, wondering if this was the worst decision I'd ever made. At 9:58 a.m., a guy approached me. Late 20s, dark hair, nice face, wearing khakis and a button-down like he was attending a job interview. Lily? He asked. Nathan? He looked relieved. Thank God you actually came. I was worried you'd back out. I considered it. I really appreciate this. My parents can be intense, but they mean well. Just follow my lead and we'll get through this. Why couldn't you just tell them you're not dating anyone? Because I told them 6 months ago I was in a serious relationship to stop them from setting me up with every single woman they know. And I kept building on the lie. And now they're visiting from Boston specifically to meet you. And if I tell them you don't exist, my mother will have a breakdown. Before I could respond, an older couple approached. The woman's face lit up when she saw us. There you are. She pulled Nathan into a hug, then turned to me. And you must be Lily. Oh, Nathan was right. You are beautiful. I shook her hand. Mrs. Gallagher, it's so nice to meet you. Please call me Catherine. We're practically family. Gerald shook my hand with a firm grip. Nathan's told us a lot about you. Good to finally put a face to the name. We went inside and were seated at a table near the window. Catherine immediately started asking questions. How did we meet? I launched into the coffee shop story Nathan had provided. He'd spilled his iced coffee on my laptop bag and felt so terrible he'd insisted on buying me breakfast to apologize. We'd talked for 2 hours. He'd asked for my number before I left. That's exactly something Nathan would do, Catherine said, beaming. He's always been clumsy, but thoughtful. Gerald asked about my teaching job. I made up details about my fictional elementary school, about the kids in my fictional classroom, about lesson plans I'd never written. The lies came easier than I expected. Maybe because I'd spent weeks earlier in the year interviewing for teaching positions before settling on freelance design work. The rejection letters had included enough details about what they were looking for that I could fake it convincingly. Nathan played along perfectly. He'd add small details that made the relationship sound real. He'd mentioned that time we went hiking and got lost for 3 hours, and I'd jump in with, because someone insisted we didn't need a map. His parents laughed. They were eating it up. An hour into brunch, Catherine excused herself to the restroom. Gerald leaned forward. Can I be honest with you, Lily? My heart stopped. He knew. Somehow he'd figured it out. Of course. Nathan's last relationship ended badly. Really badly. She cheated on him with his best friend. He was devastated. We didn't think he'd date again for years. I looked at Nathan. He was staring at his plate. So seeing him happy again, seeing him with someone who clearly cares about him, it means everything to us. Whatever you're doing, keep doing it. He deserves someone good. The guilt was crushing. Thank you, I managed. Catherine returned and the conversation shifted to lighter topics. They asked about my family. I told them the truth about my parents, my brother. No reason to lie about things that didn't connect to Nathan. They asked about our future plans. Did we see this relationship going somewhere serious? Nathan and I exchanged glances. We're taking it day by day, he said. But yeah, I could see a future with Lily. The way he said it sounded almost real. Like he'd practiced this answer. Like he'd actually thought about what he'd say if someone asked. Brunch ended after 3 hours. Catherine hugged me goodbye. This was wonderful. We should do dinner before we fly home on Monday. Are you free Sunday night? I looked at Nathan. We hadn't discussed this. One brunch, that was the deal. We'll check our schedules, Nathan said smoothly. I'll text you. We walked his parents to their car. They drove away waving, and Nathan and I were left standing on the sidewalk. Sunday dinner, I said. I know. I'm sorry. She surprised me. Nathan, this was supposed to be one meal. I'll double the payment. $1,000 total for both meals. Please. They leave Monday morning. After that, you never have to see them again. I should have said no. Should have taken my $500 and walked away. But standing there, watching him look so desperate, I thought about Gerald's words. About Nathan's ex cheating. About his parents just wanting him to be happy. Fine. One more meal, but that's it. Thank you. Really? You're amazing at this, by the way. They completely believed everything. Yeah, well, I'm an excellent liar, apparently. He laughed. Can I buy you actual lunch? As a thank you? Not fake dating. Just two people eating food. I hesitated. Just lunch. Nothing weird. We went to a sandwich shop a block away. Without his parents watching, Nathan relaxed. He told me the truth about the fake girlfriend. About how his mom had been relentless after his breakup. About how the lie had spiraled. I kept thinking I'd tell them eventually, but every time I tried, my mom would say something about how happy she was I'd found someone, and I couldn't do it. You're going to have to tell them eventually. I know. After they leave, I'll say we broke up. Mutual decision. Still friends. It'll be fine. We talked for an hour. He asked about my actual life, my actual job. I told him about freelance graphic design, about struggling to find consistent work, about how $500 was literally the difference between paying rent and not. I'm sorry. I didn't realize I was texting someone who actually needed the money. I thought I was hiring an actor or something. How did you even find that number? Craigslist ad. Someone posted offering services as a fake date for events. I texted what I thought was their number. Well, you got a broke graphic designer instead, who is apparently excellent at improv. He smiled. Seriously, thank you. You saved me today. Sunday dinner was at a restaurant Catherine had researched. Upscale Italian place with candles and wine lists. Nathan picked me up from my apartment because Catherine had asked how we were getting there. The car ride was quiet. I'd spent the previous day working on actual projects, trying not to think about the fact that I was getting deeper into this lie. Dinner started the same way brunch had. Questions, stories, laughter. But halfway through, Catherine dropped a bomb. Gerald and I have been talking. We'd love to fly you both to Boston next month. Show Lily where Nathan grew up. Maybe meet your family too, Lily? I froze. Nathan jumped in. That's really generous, but Lily's schedule is pretty packed with school. It would be during summer break, Catherine countered. Perfect timing. We'll definitely think about it, I said, trying to sound enthusiastic. Under the table, Nathan's leg was bouncing like it had at brunch. After dinner, his parents headed back to their hotel. Nathan and I sat in his car in the parking lot. Boston, I said. I know. Nathan, this is getting out of control. I'll tell them we broke up before then. I promise. You said that about Sunday dinner? I know. I'm sorry. I'm a coward. We sat in silence. Can I ask you something? I said. Why haven't you just met someone for real? You're not bad looking. You seem nice. Why fake it? He was quiet for a long time. Because everyone I've tried to date, I compare to her, to my ex. And I'm terrified of getting hurt like that again. It's easier to be alone. But my parents don't understand that. So you invented a perfect girlfriend who can't hurt you. Yeah, he looked at me. Except you're not invented. You're real. And you've been kinder to me in 2 days than my actual ex was in 2 years. Something in his tone made my chest tight. Nathan, I'm not hitting on you. I know this is fake. I just mean, thank you for seeing me spiral and still showing up. The next morning, Catherine texted me. Not Nathan. Me. It was so wonderful meeting you, Lily. Nathan is lucky to have you. We hope you'll come to Boston soon. I screenshot it and sent it to Nathan. Your mom has my number now. She asked for it at dinner while you were in the bathroom. I couldn't say no without being suspicious. This is a nightmare. I'm sorry. But the texts from Catherine kept coming. Photos of Nathan as a kid, recipes she thought I'd like, questions about my favorite flowers. She'd decided I was part of the family and there was no stopping it. 2 weeks later, Nathan called me. I need to ask you something and you can absolutely say no. Oh no. My parents are coming back for my birthday next month. They want to throw a party, and they're expecting you to be there. Nathan, no. This has to stop. I know, you're right, but what? Can I see you? In person? I'll buy you coffee. Real coffee, not fake date coffee. I just need to talk through this. We met at the same coffee shop where his parents had first grilled me. He looked tired. I tried to break up with you, he said, to my parents. I told my mom we'd had a fight and needed space. What did she say? She offered to fly back immediately to mediate. She started crying. She said she couldn't handle me being heartbroken again. He put his head in his hands. I'm trapped in my own lie and I'm dragging you down with me. I should have been angry. Should have told him to figure it out himself. But instead, I said, how much is the birthday party worth to you? He looked up. $2,000. Deal. But after that, you tell them the truth. You break up with fake me. You do it gently and you don't blame me for anything. I promise. The party was at a restaurant Nathan's parents had rented out. 30 people. Family, friends, co-workers. All of whom believed I was his girlfriend. I showed up in a dress Catherine had texted me about, saying, this would look beautiful on you. She'd sent a link. I'd bought it because I was already too deep in this. Nathan introduced me to everyone. His college roommate, his work friends, his aunt who grabbed my hand and said, finally, someone good for our Nathan. Every introduction felt like another layer of deception, another person I'd have to pretend for. But the strangest thing was how natural it felt. Nathan and I had gotten good at this. We'd synced up. We could finish each other's fake stories. We knew which details to emphasize. Halfway through the party, I went outside for air. Nathan followed me. You okay? Your aunt wants to know when we're getting engaged. God, I'm sorry. Everyone in there thinks we're this perfect couple. They keep telling me how lucky I am. You are a really good actor. That's the thing, Nathan. I don't think I'm acting anymore. He stared at me. What? I've spent a month pretending to be your girlfriend. I've learned everything about you. Your parents text me daily. Your friends like me. And somewhere in all this pretending, I forgot it wasn't real. Lily, I know this is insane. I know you hired me to play a role, but I need to tell you this before I keep lying to myself. I think I actually like you. The real you. Not the you your parents see. The you who panics about everything and feels guilty about lying and buys me coffee to apologize for ruining my life. Nathan didn't say anything. He just looked at me with an expression I couldn't read. I'm sorry, I said. I shouldn't have said anything. Let's just get through tonight and then... He kissed me. Not for show. Not for his parents. Just because we were alone outside and he wanted to. When he pulled back, he said, I've wanted to do that since the Sunday dinner when you made that joke about my mom's recipe and she actually laughed. When I realized you weren't just playing a part, you were actually trying to make them happy. What does this mean? I have no idea, but I don't want to fake this anymore. We went back inside. The party continued. His parents gave speeches. Friends shared embarrassing stories. Through it all, Nathan held my hand. Not because he had to, because he wanted to. At the end of the night, Catherine pulled me aside. Can I tell you something? Of course. I knew. My blood went cold. Knew what? That first brunch. I knew something was off. Little details that didn't match what Nathan had told us. The way you two looked at each other like you were meeting for the first time. Catherine, I'm so sorry. We never meant to. Let me finish. She smiled. I knew you weren't who Nathan said you were, but I watched how you treated him. How you showed up even though you were clearly terrified. How you learned about us and cared enough to try. And I realized something. What? Real girlfriends don't try that hard. But someone pretending to be his girlfriend, someone being paid to show up who still puts in that much effort, that's someone special. You knew the whole time. Gerald didn't. He's not as observant. But yes, I knew. She squeezed my hand. And I watched my son fall for you over the past month. Really fall for you. The way he looks at you when you're not paying attention. That's not fake. I don't know what to say. Say you'll stop pretending. Both of you. Whatever this is, make it real. Because I haven't seen Nathan this happy in years. 2 months later, Nathan and I were still together. Really together. His parents knew the truth about how we met. Gerald had been shocked, but Catherine just said, I told you so, repeatedly. We told his friends. They thought it was the funniest thing they'd ever heard. One of them called us the worst rom-com he'd ever seen. Nathan still felt guilty about the lying, but less so now that we'd turned something fake into something real. We were at his apartment on a random Friday night. He was cooking dinner while I worked on a design project at his kitchen table. Completely normal. Completely domestic. Can I ask you something? He said, Sure. What made you show up that first brunch? Really? I thought about it. I needed $500. He laughed. That's it? That's the only reason? That's the only reason I said yes initially. But I kept showing up because I trailed off. Because I saw you that first breakfast, panicking about disappointing your parents, and I recognized it. I've spent my whole life trying to be what people need me to be, and I saw you doing the same thing. Is that why you lied so easily? Probably. I'm very good at being who people expect. What if I don't want you to be what I expect? What if I just want you to be you? I looked up at him. I'm still figuring out who that is. Me too. He came over and kissed the top of my head. But I'd like to figure it out together, if that's okay. It's better than okay. 6 months after that first brunch, Catherine and Gerald visited again. This time there was no pretending, no fake stories, just the truth. We told them about the wrong number, about the $500, about how I'd shown up thinking it was a one-time gig. Catherine laughed so hard she cried. I knew something was off, but this is so much better than I imagined. Gerald was less amused. You paid someone to pretend to be your girlfriend? I was desperate, Dad. And you agreed to deceive us for money? He asked me. I was broke. And also, your wife is very intimidating. Catherine gasped. I am not. You asked me about my 5-year plan within 10 minutes of meeting me. That's a normal question. Gerald cracked a smile. She is pretty intimidating. We had dinner together that night. Real stories this time. Real history. Catherine wanted to know everything about how we'd actually fallen for each other. It was the third fake date, Nathan said. We were having coffee and you laughed at something I said. A real laugh, not a polite fake one. And I thought, I want to hear that laugh for real. For me, it was the birthday party, I said. When you introduced me to your college roommate and he told that story about you staying up all night to help him study. And I realized you were actually the kind person you'd been pretending to be for your parents. So the fake version was the real version? Catherine asked. More or less, Nathan said. I think we were both pretending to be better versions of ourselves. And then, we accidentally became those versions. A year after that first brunch, Nathan and I moved in together. Catherine sent a care package with kitchen supplies and a card that said, for our favorite accidental couple. She'd also included $500 cash with a note. Lily's original fee returned with interest. Thank you for being brave enough to show up that day. I called her immediately. Catherine, I can't accept this. You can, and you will. You gave me my son back. Not the one who was hiding and lying, but the real one. The happy one. $500 doesn't begin to cover that. He's pretty great. So are you, sweetie. Now put that money towards something fun. Take a real vacation together, not a fake one. We used the money for a weekend trip to the coast. Just us, no pretending, no parents. On the last night, sitting on the beach, Nathan said, I have a question. Okay, if you could go back to that morning, would you still show up? I thought about it. Probably not. It was objectively a terrible decision. But I'm really glad I did. He pulled me closer. Me too. 2 years after the first brunch, Nathan proposed. Real proposal, real ring, real emotions. Catherine and Gerald flew in for it. She cried. He pretended not to cry, but definitely cried. At the engagement party, Nathan's college roommate gave a speech. I've known Nathan for 10 years, and I've never seen him as happy as he's been since he accidentally hired his girlfriend on Craigslist. Everyone laughed. I stood up. Small correction. He didn't hire me. He sent a text to the wrong number. I showed up anyway because I was broke and needed rent money. More laughter. But somewhere between faking a relationship for his parents and actually falling for him, I realized something. The best things in my life have always come from saying yes to the wrong things. Wrong number, wrong situation, right person. Nathan pulled me down and kissed me in front of everyone. Thank you for showing up that day, he whispered. Thank you for asking me to stay. 3 years after that first brunch, we got married. Catherine helped plan everything. Gerald walked me down the aisle because my own father couldn't make it. During the ceremony, the officiant told our story. About mistaken identity and fake dating and $500 that changed everything. About 2 people who pretended so well they forgot they were pretending. About showing up for someone even when you're not sure why. In his vows, Nathan said, I thought I was hiring an actor. I ended up finding my person. Thank you for being brave enough to lie to my parents. And thank you for being honest enough to tell me you'd stopped pretending. In my vows, I said, I showed up that day for $500. I stayed for every moment after. Thank you for asking me to keep showing up, even when it's real, especially when it's real. At the reception, Catherine pulled me aside. Can I tell you something I've never told you? Of course. That first brunch, I knew within 5 minutes you weren't who Nathan said you were. You said you figured it out during the meal. I lied. I knew immediately, but I also saw how hard you were trying. And I thought, anyone willing to put in that much effort for someone they just met is someone worth knowing. You could have called us out. And miss watching my son fall in love? Not a chance. She hugged me. Thank you for saying yes to that wrong number. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for staying. 5 years after that first brunch, Nathan and I were sitting in the same coffee shop where we'd met his parents. Our daughter, 2 years old, was eating a muffin and getting crumbs everywhere. Do you remember that first breakfast? Nathan asked. Every detail. I was so terrified. You didn't seem terrified. You seemed like you belonged. I was an excellent liar. You still are. I kicked him under the table. I'm kidding. Mostly. Catherine texted. Photo of her and Gerald holding a banner that said, Happy 5-year wrong number anniversary. She'd been celebrating the anniversary of my first fake appearance every year. Your mom is ridiculous, I said, showing Nathan. She's the best. Our daughter looked up. Gamma Catherine? Yes, we'll see Grandma Catherine this weekend. Tell story? Nathan and I exchanged looks. She's too young for that story. She asks every time. When she's older, I said. We'll tell her when she's older. About the wrong number and the fake girlfriend and how sometimes the best things come from mistakes. That's basically our entire relationship. Best mistake I ever made. Nathan reached across the table and took my hand. Best wrong number I ever sent. Our daughter went back to destroying her muffin. Around us, the coffee shop buzzed with strangers living their normal lives. None of them knew our story. None of them knew how we'd started. And that was fine. Because we knew. We remembered. We showed up when we didn't have to. We stayed when we could have left. We made something real out of something fake. And that was enough. Appreciate you watching this far. If you enjoyed it, drop a like, leave a comment, and subscribe so you won't miss the next story.